beat drops, you know exactly what time it is. Hello and welcome into another episode of The Blitz. David Shealy is off today, enjoying whatever is left of his holiday weekend. So all you got is me as we break down the Buccaneers heading on the road to take on the Indianapolis Colts. We'll talk about the defensive rookies who need to step up, why the Bucs rushing attack could have a huge day. Plus, I'm bringing back one of my favorite segments, Keeping It a Buck, where we decode some of those press conference sound bites. So let's get started. This is the 10 and 10, the 10 most important storylines you need to know before today's tilt on 10 Tampa Bay. The Colts are a 5-5 squad, but oddly enough are only 1-4 at home. Indy is coming off a bye after beating the Patriots in Germany 10-6. That was the only game this season the Colts did not score 20 or more points. Tampa Bay hasn't hit 20 5 times this season, losing 4 of those matchups. One of those games was last Sunday against the Niners. They held their own, but they lost the battle and the war when factoring in key injuries. Lavonte David might be the biggest, getting knocked out with a groin issue. He will not be on the field today. You won't see him. You won't see Jamel Dean either. The Bucs avoided the injury bug most of the season, but the depth will be tested this afternoon. Devin White, who has been hurt since the Philadelphia game week 3, still remains questionable. Mike Green, Logan Hall here. Devin White and Carlton Davis hurt big time if they can go. So defensively, Todd Bowles' group banged up. Just means next man up. And at number 9, that means we might see some rooks earning more snaps. We've already seen what Yaya Diaby and Kalijah Kancey can do. Diaby is coming off a 2-sack contest in San Francisco. Kancey has 21 pressures on the season. But what about a guy like linebacker Servassier Dennis or cornerback Josh Hayes? Time to grow up and step up.
You know, just go out there and just really play your hardest, like strain every play, like play in, play out, no matter what.
There was kind of, we kind of had a talk as a rookie group, just, like we have to be ready. There's a lot of rookies, a lot of younger guys on this team. So I think we kind of came in with that mentality. So I feel like we're as ready as we'll be, you know what I mean?
At number 8, hopefully these rookies can help in the passing game because Tampa Bay has been shredded this season, ranking second to last through the air, giving up north of 270 yards per game. Only the Chargers have been worse. Luckily for Tampa Bay, the Colts are not the most prolific passing attack, ranking 15th this season in that category. Seems like a good time to bring in James Yarko for our Locked On Bucs burning question of the week. And James, as I just talked about a couple of minutes ago, these boys are hurting badly. How can Todd Bowles and company not get gashed today against Indianapolis?
With no Lavonte David on the field for the Bucs on Sunday, Todd Bowles is going to have to be a little less aggressive than he normally is. You still have Devin White dealing with the foot injury and has been labeled a game time decision. But going up against Jonathan Taylor, you have to make sure that the back half of your defense is disciplined. Maybe that means bringing Antoine Winfield Jr. up into the box a little bit more to play kind of a safety hybrid, safety linebacker hybrid, because he is such a sure tackler, in order to not let Jonathan Taylor start to make big plays, start to get big chunk yardage, and really shut down the run game the way that the Bucs are generally able to do. But they do that with Lavonte David. You have to limit Jonathan Taylor first and foremost and force Gardner Minshew to be the guy to beat you. He can do it. He's shown that he can do it with the Colts this season against quite a few opponents. But you don't want to let the Colts' best player run wild, because arguably your most reliable player on the defensive side of the ball isn't there.
Thank you so much, James. And at number 7, let's talk about that guy, Jonathan Taylor, because you're right. He's the head of the snake for this offense. He missed the start of the season with a contractual issue, an injury. Once that was settled up and he ramped back up, he has been a force the past 4 weeks, averaging 90-plus total yards with 3 scores. On the flip side, Zaire Franklin is a menace defending the run, ranks 3rd in the NFL with 117 tackles. The Bucs can circle and start him since the Colts released former All-Pro linebacker Shaquille Leonard earlier this week. But at number 6, let's focus in on the Bucs rushing attack, because while the stats still aren't great to look at, offensive coordinator Dave Canales is adjusting, and it's allowing this attack to be more balanced without running into brick walls, run after run. And let me show you what I'm talking about. See, the interior of this offensive line, not the beefiest, but you know what? They're super athletic. So I want you to focus in on Robert Hainsey and Aaron Stinney right here. They are going to roll right out on a counter, and look at all this space. Look at all the space that Chase Edmond has to run. All right, that's a 5-yard gain. We'll work with that. Then also let's look here. We got motion coming to the near side of the field. And we don't have to hand the ball off. We can let Baker do it. Now, Fred Warner is one heck of a player. If we go back here, if he follows the sweep, we follow the motion guy, that's a lot of green grass. But of course, he's an all-pro linebacker for a reason. But look, Baker picks up another 3 or 4 yards. They don't have the big chunk plays here. We can also, just flare it out right to Rachaad White. He doesn't even have to run the ball. Just him versus a linebacker, put him in open space, picks up another 6, 7 yards. When you start moving east and west, now you can move north and south, and that's what Dave Canales really wants to do. And as you can see, picking up nice gains right here. They just have to stop with the 1 and 2 yard runs and get 3, 4, 5 yards. The Colts are giving up 4.1 yards per carry, so I think if Canales continues to progress in his diversity of play calls, White and company could have a big day. At number 5, how about we get Baker Mayfield involved in the blocking game? Look at the quarterback squaring up Nick Bosa as Trey Palmer takes one of those end-around plays for a good gain. Baker is far from perfect, but you can never doubt his passion and gamesmanship on the field. It's why he is so respected in the locker room. How about more of that, right, Baker?
No. I wouldn't call it a block. I just bought enough time for Trey to get around the corner.
Yeah, so the coaching point was get in the way and then get out of the way. And then I think he was having some flashbacks of flag planting and all that and was trying to put his hands on him, but he did his job.
Now, the last part of Baker's job is to find the deep ball, something he continues to struggle with throughout the season. He can also find Chris Godwin more. And before we get into that, I do want to mention Godwin is Tampa Bay's nominee for the Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award. It's well deserved for him, and he's looking to become the first Bucs player ever to earn the prestigious honor. So at number 4, Godwin needs just 4 catches to reach 500 for his career. And how about this? He is one of 3 receivers in the league to have 50 or more targets and not record a drop this year. He's tied with Adam Thielen of the Panthers for the highest hands grade via Pro Football Focus. Godwin thanks his pregame meditation for his excellent concentration.
So a lot of times it can be easy to get distracted by the outside noise or by the, whether it's the pressure of the moment or, a bunch of different things. But for me, meditation has been something that's really helped me lock in and be in the moment, and that helps me in those, critical situations. So when I go out there, it's, I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary. I'm just doing what I've trained to do.
Just like Evans, Godwin is terribly underrated. But at number 3, rookie Rakim Jarrett has a quad injury and will not play today. In fact, it's bad enough to put him on the injured reserve and sideline him for a month. Expect David Moore to get elevated from the practice squad to get his first snaps of the season. At number 2, let's bring back a fun segment called Keeping It a Buck, a.k.a. how Carissa Thompson handles sideline duties. This is where, in jest, we decode those press conference sound bites to tell you what the coach or player is really trying to say. And let's start with Larry Foote on Devin White last week.
You always want more. I'm going to push him to get more. Wasn't one of his best games, but I always encourage him. As a linebacker, you want to make a high volume amount of tackles. Wasn't his best performance.
If we're keeping it a buck, Devin White has had back-to-back games with 3 total tackles. So when I hear it wasn't his best performance twice, what he's really trying to say is Devin has not been Devin. Now, this man is hurting, has been since week 3, but if he's going to be on the field, he has to provide more of an impact. That is the expectation in the building. Next up, Bowles on playing rookies.
That's what coaching is. That's the challenge every week. Hide your weaknesses and try to expose theirs. That's the biggest thing. I try to highlight the guys that do things well and let them do them well and without jeopardizing everybody else. So that's the challenge of coaching. That's what I love about it.
Keeping it a buck, Todd is saying he's well aware of the difficulties coming up today. It's on him to figure it out. I got Antoine Winfield Jr., Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea, and Kalijah Kancey, who I forget is still a rookie. I'm not going to focus on what I don't have. I'm going to focus on the studs I do have and direct the game plan right towards them. We want to win. I'm designing the plays for those guys. Finally, Baker on if he would like to play on Thanksgiving.
No, I'd rather eat. But I don't know. You play on Thanksgiving, maybe you can eat after. If you have the early game, it could be good.
Keeping it a buck, Baker Mayfield is saying this job gets enough of my family time and playing on Thursdays stink. All I want to do is gather up grandma's banana pudding, eat like a horse, and then bust my buns the next couple of days so I can run around in the pocket without getting the stuffing knocked out of me. And if I do suit up on Turkey Day, I best not be in that 7 o'clock time slot in Seattle. My butt better be in Detroit getting this thing over with quickly. At number 1, Baker might not want to play on Turkey Day, but he loves giving out turkeys. The Bucs O-line, in part with Publix, were handing out holiday meals as the two teamed up for the 17th annual Turkey Time with the O-line Tuesday night. Several players and coaches handed out more than 1,000 meals at Raymond James Stadium. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers Foundation Social Justice Fund also wrote a check for more than $43,000 to Feeding Tampa Bay. Amazing stuff. As for the list of games we have on 10 Tampa Bay today, we've talked about it all morning. The Bucs taking on Indianapolis at 1 o'clock. Then right after that one, you will not want to change the channel with Philadelphia hosting the Buffalo Bills at 4:25. As for our Blitz picks, David and I are both 6-5. I have his pick, but I'm going to go first. I'm really concerned about this defense as is. Now take out Levante David, and I'm wondering if the group can contain Jonathan Taylor as well as they need to. I actually think there's the potential that both teams put up a ton of points, but I'll play it safe and go 24-20 Colts. As for David, he disagrees with me on both points. He's taking the Buccaneers to get a huge victory, low-scoring affair, 14-10. The Buccaneers and David are returning back home next Sunday. For now, though, thank you for joining me on the episode all by my lonesome right here on The Blitz. We'll be here at the same time, same place next week. More Bright Side coming up right after the break.